In 2015, I was fresh out of college and working in a cubicle at the most office space-esque job you can imagine. I was making decent money at the time, especially for my age, but I pretty quickly realized that this was not the life that I wanted. I needed to find a way to make some extra money to give myself and my career some future flexibility. Yes, I had dreams of one day quitting that job, but I had just recently gotten married and my wife Hannah was in graduate school. Getting an extra $1,000 a month would be game-changing. Now, it took me over a year before I was consistently making an extra $1,000 a month, but if I had known then what I'm about to show you in this video, I could have done it much, much faster. So let me walk you through these 7 steps so that you can start making some extra money ASAP. Step number 1 is to decide on your goal. If you're looking for extra money to hit a specific short-term goal, like paying off some debt, or saving for a down payment on a house, then you might want to look for the best possible way to make money regardless of how taxing it is on your time and your health. Essentially, you want to be focused on the skill set and jobs that are going to net you the highest dollar per hour. You want to make as much money as possible and then just really grind it out until you can hit your goal. On the other hand, you might be looking to build an extra $500 or $1,000 a month doing something more sustainable by finding work that you really love doing. This is going to be a whole lot more sustainable, even if it does take you a little bit longer to get up and running because it's a lower dollar per hour. However, you might end up making more money in the long run with this option because you're less likely to burn out. Whichever one you want to choose is fine, but it's really important to get clear from the outset which one of these you're optimizing for, because that's how you're going to know what to say yes to and what to say no to when it comes to the rest of these steps. Now, once you've made your decision, you're ready for step number 2, which is you need to decide if you want to take on a part-time job, do gig work, or create your own business. Now, each one of these has their own pros and cons. Generally speaking, getting a part-time job or doing gig-based work is going to lead to money quicker and having to take on much less risk. However, you're going to probably have a lot less flexibility over what you do and when you do it. And in the long run, you could make less money than if you had started your own business. But obviously, creating your own business takes on a whole nother level of risk. Yes, you do have potential upside down the road of making a lot more money, but you have to weigh whether or not the risk is worth the reward for you. Now, if you're watching this video, I'm sure you've seen a number of those passive income or listicle side hustle videos describing tons of different ideas and ways that you can make extra money. Well, once you've decided on the type of work that you want to do, you can immediately say no to a ton of ideas on that list and start to really narrow down on just the ideas that are going to make sense for you. So decide on these things first. And once you've done that, you're ready for step number 3, which is to make a list of all the things that you're good at. These are your strengths. And you've probably been wondering when I was actually going to start using this Venn diagram. Well, this is our first one. You need to brainstorm a list of technical skills that you're actually good at. Think about all the things that anyone has ever complimented you on. What have bosses, coworkers, friends, family, and teachers told you that you're good at doing? Now, if you have a hard time writing down some things that you're good at, I highly recommend you start by asking friends and family, which I get can admittedly be a little bit awkward at first. A few years ago, I asked my wife, my parents, my brother, some friends, some old coworkers, and my old bandmates what they thought that I was good at. It was really helpful to see some of the repeating things that each person said. If you can find 2 or 3 people to tell you that you're good at something kind of similar, then that's probably a pretty good indication you have a strength in that area. I would also recommend that you check out some self-assessments. My favorite work-related ones are the StrengthsFinder 2.0 and the Kolbe A. In fact, Hannah and I did a whole podcast series examining our strengths and weaknesses and how they relate to work and our careers. I'll leave a link to that episode in the description down below. So once you've done this, you're ready for step number 4, which is to make another list, but this time of things that you really enjoy. This is the second step in our Venn diagram. Do you like to move around a lot and work with your hands, or do you prefer more computer work? Do you like to be out and about or working from an office? Do you like working with people a lot, or do you prefer to work alone? Do you like analytical, sort of technical type tasks, or do you like more creative work? Do you like solving people problems or object-based problems? Again, here's a list of mine to give you an example. It's really helpful to list out not only the skills and tasks you like doing, but also any potential companies that you think you would enjoy working with or for. Even if you're starting your own business, it can be helpful to get an idea of any companies that might be a good fit as a potential partner or client if you're starting a service-based business. Now, I know earlier in step number 1, we chose to focus on either the dollars per hour or enjoyment. But even if you chose to focus on the dollars per hour, you still need to have a little bit of this. Otherwise, you're going to burn out very, very quickly. I know when I got started, I was already working 50 to 60 hours a week at my day job. There was absolutely no way that I could have consistently worked on the nights and weekends after that if I didn't really enjoy what it was that I was doing. So I encourage you to dive into the step. Once you've done that, you're ready for step number 5, which is to research the skills, jobs, opportunities, etc. that people actually pay money for. This is the third part of our Venn diagram. And obviously, it's a pretty important part if we're trying to make money on the side. We need to make another list, another brainstorming session. Should include skills, tasks, odd jobs, business ideas that are proven. And you can find examples of real people making money and having success with them. Use your first 2 lists of things that you're good at and things that you like to get started. Then go online and start searching job boards, Upwork, Fiverr, TaskRabbit to get an idea of what services people pay for. If you've listed off companies that you think would be good to work at, go to their websites and look for a hiring now page and see what positions and skills that they actually pay money for. Get on the email list of companies that you wrote down and pay attention when they send out "we're hiring" emails. And if you're looking at building a product-based business, get on Etsy, Google, and Facebook Marketplace and try to find some examples of real people successfully selling products like the ones that you want to make. Counterintuitively, you want to find people having success with the idea that you have. Unless you're the next Elon Musk creating brand new technology or on the cutting edge of an industry, it's a good sign when people are making money doing the things that you want to do. If you can't find anybody out there paying for your idea, there's a good chance that there's not much demand and you're going to have a real hard time making any money. I highly recommend you check out the podcasts My First Million from Sam and Sean and Side Hustle Show from Nick Loper. Both of these podcasts do an incredible job at giving you all sorts of ideas and ways that you can make money that aren't your typical run-of-the-mill stuff. Once you've got this third list, you're ready to bring it all together in step number 6 and find your mix. This is where you're going to find the intersection of the things that you're good at with the things you enjoy doing and what people will actually pay money for. And it's really important to have all 3 of these. For example, I really enjoy snowboarding, and people do pay money for professional snowboarders. Companies and brands pay money for that kind of thing. However, I'm not very good at it, so this isn't going to work for me. At the same time, I am pretty good at math and engineering. That's what I went to school for. And people do pay money for engineers. However, I don't really enjoy it, which leads to burnout. And maybe, for example, you really enjoy making, I don't know, socks for your cat. And hey, maybe you're even pretty good at making cat socks. But the question is, do people actually want to pay money for socks for cats? I don't know, maybe they do, maybe they don't, but that's something you'd want to figure out before you just go knit 1,000 pairs. If you can dial each of these 3 areas in, you're going to make a lot more money a whole lot faster than if any one of these pieces are missing. Now, your last step is to get started. I know I just gave you a ton of lists to make and questions to answer, and you should absolutely do those things, but don't spin your wheels for too long here. If you're doing a product-based business, you need to create a minimum viable product and start trying to sell just one. This is your proof of concept. If you're doing a service-based thing, get a simple 1-page website up and running as fast as possible, and then get on job boards and start pitching people. The faster you move, the more you're going to learn, and the faster you're going to be able to iterate and correct course when something isn't working. I found my mix in writing and teaching personal finance. I was pretty good at teaching and structuring things in a way that people could understand. I loved personal finance, and brands of financial experts would pay freelancers to write articles for their websites. I finally just got started, got on some job boards and forums, and started pitching people on my writing services. And then things started to happen. A couple of free projects turned into a couple of small paid projects, and eventually that turned into a large $4,000 project with a financial advisor to create a few pages and articles for his website. After that, I was off to the races. I knew I was onto something, and if I could consistently pull in projects like that, I could make some real money. Looking back, I wish I would have blazed through this process much faster. But you live and you learn, and hopefully I can pass some of those learnings on to you. If you like this video, you'll want to check out this video over here about how Hannah and I eventually created 5 income streams and did quit our jobs. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you over there.